Hello my beautiful people, welcome to the next weekly general with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. If you are already a continued subby, you know I love you for it. With that said, if you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can do so on the website address below. And before we start, as always, I would like to bless... Don't know which cards I'm using today. All right, so these ones apparently. I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So this week, when I went into my intuition, it was a really interesting one. So what I actually saw was this massive column. And at first I was like, why are you showing me this? And what I saw was effectively, you know, it looked like a young person or a novice, as I've written here. They were looking at this giant pillar and it was like, all I have is a backpack and a rope. I've got nothing else. There's no machines, there was no nothing. It was literally just this person, like, you know, who's looking up at this giant monument like, holy shit, like, you know, how am I going to get past this? How am I going to get through that? And they took the rope out of their backpack, slung it around the thing, and used that to, you know, you see people climbing with the rope up these giant sort of things, and they were doing that. And I was like, okay, cool. And then when they got to the top, there was like this, you know, sort of white knuckle moment of having to climb up onto the podium, you know, and then they were looking out over what seemed like a, you know, just a vast space of people, like, you know, cheering and stuff, all the rest of it. But up until that point, there was nobody there, right? Which kind of talks about, you know, the journey of success. When you start it, people tell you you're crazy, you don't know what you're doing, it's going to be impossible, you know, all the naysayers, nobody's there for you. And then the second you scale that mountain or that thing, you know, all the cheers and the congratulations and, oh, we knew you could do it. I'm sorry, weren't you one of the people telling me I was crazy? You know, like that, there's that whole energy about it. And then there was this moment where this person was stood at the top of the pillar and they were looking out, and it was like, okay, so what do I do now? And the understanding that I got was you need to jump. So I'm kind of seeing through this person's eyes now, and then like they jumped, and then as they jumped, I was like watching them fall, and all of a sudden they just kind of shimmered and turned into this sort of glowing figure and being that kind of then just descended and put their feet on the ground. The novice scales the monument and the awakened one descends. So the message is kind of this, right? Whoever you are at the start of the mountain, whoever you are at the start of that journey, once you scale it upward on the way and then you come back down on the other side, you are not the same person. So whatever your challenges are, whatever it is that is heartbreaking, whatever it is that is tough, whatever it is that is, you know, and trust me when I tell you, I am feeling this myself right now. I'm not going to go into any details because you know me, that's not my thing. But I can tell you I'm feeling this right now. So to see this in my intuition, in my visualization, was an absolute, you know, universe send. It made me kind of go, oh, okay, I think we're all going to be all right in some way, shape or form. So whatever it is that you are challenged with right now, whatever it is that you are working through, whatever it is that you are working on, whatever the challenge is that that appears to be like this huge monument in your life that you feel like you might not be able to get past, the message is quite clear. You can and you will. And believe it or not, like last week the message was only when you've done the work, right? Whereas this week the message is kind of in stark contrast. Like I said, this person only had a backpack and a rope to scale this giant monument. They slung it around the column and were just climbing with just a piece of rope. There was nothing else, no pulleys, no safety net, no nothing, right? And that's the message this week. Who you are when you scale this challenge, who you are when you go up against this challenge is going to be a vastly different person to who you are when you descend. And when you descend, you will be that much more awakened and enlightened for it. So whatever your challenges are this week, you meet them head on with everything that you already have in your arsenal. Don't allow yourself, don't allow your mind, your heart, your history, whatever it is, don't allow any of that to convince you that you cannot succeed this week, right? Because you absolutely can, and you have everything that you need already to be a success in whatever way, shape or form that might take for you. For the Destiny card for this week ahead, we have the Emperor, right? So you got to claim your own majesty. You got to claim your own kingdom, right? And very often the kingdom that we're talking about is the one on the internal plane, whether this is mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, right? This is about owning yourself. And I mean, the Destiny card as well, right? It's the overarching theme or energy that kind of permeates our lives. And this kind of says that this week you have to take authority. You have to take a responsibility. This week you have to show up for yourself. Right, this is not about leaning on anybody else. And don't get me wrong, this, you know, the thing about the Emperor card as well, let's break it down, right? The Emperor is the ruler. This is the person that makes that final decision, that final call, which is why we say heavy is the head, you know, heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? And the reason being is because the final decision lays with them. But this person will check in with advisors. They have, you know, you have viziers and all the rest of it in the old courts. You have people that will support you and surround you. But the ultimate decision, the ultimate action, remember this card is ruled by Aries. The ultimate decision and the ultimate action have to come from you. They have to be yours. They have to come from within you, right? So ask opinions, get second opinions, gather knowledge, gather information. What's the other thing about the Emperor? He's wizened, he's seasoned, he knows, he's seen life. He understands that sometimes you have to commit to something. Just like that person with the pillar, right? With the column that they were looking at. How am I going to do this? I don't know. Well, you know what? I'm just going to get started and that's it, right? And I know there's a few people in my world as well that are having very similar energies to this right now. So that's the message, right? You're going to have to start with what you have. You're going to have to go with what you have. You're going to have to do this, and you're going to have to claim that inner majesty, to trust yourself enough to say that I am the authority in my life. I am the authority and the responsibility for myself. And ultimately, wherever I go from here is my final decision. Right, this is about really owning it this week. On another level, the Destiny card very often represents the institution. So we could be seeing something happening with hospitals, maybe with the police force this week. We could be having more talks around this again, like we have been for weeks, months, all the rest of it. So this could be coming up in another way as well. Now, for the Direction card, how do we use this? How do we put this into practice? What can we do with it? And this week we get the Ace of Pentacles. If I told you, and I said this in one of the previous videos before, but I'm going to say it here because I feel that it's more relevant than it ever has been. Your Ace of Pentacles is not just a new start in your finances, in your money, in your materials. It's a new start on the material level. It's a new start in your physical, tangible, practical reality. And as a Direction card, how do you use this? You have to be ready to start something fresh. You have to be ready to start something new. You have to be ready to go off in a different direction, one that maybe you've never even touched or trained in or for before. But what's the thing about the Emperor? The wisdom and the knowledge that he's gained through all of his years of experience, he has all of those things at his disposal, and he understands that. He's ready to put them into practice. This week, you are going to have to walk a path, all of us in some way, shape or form. This week, we're going to have to walk a path that may seem very uncertain. But remember, the Ace of Pentacles is the seed, right? This is where you sow that seed that has the potential to become, it's the acorn. Right? This is where you sow that seed that has the potential to become the mighty oak. It's going to take your trust. It's going to take your patience. It's going to take you showing up for yourself in some way, shape or form. You are going to have to do this. You are going to have to claim yourself. You're going to have to claim the life that you want like never before. And you're going to have to stand for this. You're going to have to stand for something real. Ace of Pentacles, physical, tangible, in the real world. You're going to have to stand for something there. And it might be scary. It might have moments where you're thinking, do you know what? Holy shit, I don't know what I'm going to do here, but I know what I'm going to start with. That's all you need to have, right? The other thing with the Ace of Pentacles, very often this sees us going in new directions. So this can be a new work. This could be new work. It could be new home. You know, anything that is physical, tangible, that rules the material world. It could be a new job. It could be a new home. It could be you moving. It could be a job interview. It can be you starting that company that you have been thinking about for doing for the longest time. It could be you writing the first 100 words of that book that you told yourself you were constantly going to write. On another level, right? Because it's that Emperor card. This is about you starting, right? Making the decision or the commitment to start something or to go in a new direction and stick with it no matter what, no matter whether you can see what it's going to be yet. You just have to plant it and hope, and you have to do whatever you have to do. You have to show up every single moment of every single day to make sure that whatever it is that you're putting out into the world or into the soil to grow in one, way, shape or form, that it's ready, right? That you've done enough. There comes a point where you have to release this kind of onto the world. Now, going back to what I was saying earlier, if there is a doubt within you, right? And I said this a few weeks back in one of the sign readings, but I'm going to say it here because I feel like it's relevant for all of us in some way, shape or form. If you've ever had a doubt, if I said to you, your end result is guaranteed, you could pretty much endure anything. Most people can, right? Because they know that there is that reward at the end of it. There is that guarantee of, something's coming. It's like if I said to you, right, you're going to have to cross this next mile of the desert without any water. But when you get there, there's going to be water, food, shelter, everything. You'd run across that desert because you know what is waiting for you. You find that energy when you have that guarantee. Well, let me tell you this. If you have any doubts this week, take yourself to the mirror and there is your guarantee. There is your guarantee of success. If you want to see what you're made of, if you want to see whether you have it and you want a guarantee that you're going to succeed in whatever it is that you're doing, creating, deciding to work on or with, go and look in the mirror. That is your guarantee that you are going to succeed. All right. Let's have a look, see at the insight card. What comes up here? If I can shuffle them without throwing them all over the place. All right, so we've got the Nine of Swords, all right? And this really is a very clear message for me this week. It's only as bad as it is in your head. It's not as bad as all of that. The thing about the Nine of Swords, sometimes it can see us doing a bit of the drama queen. Now, that's not to say that your problems aren't real. That's not to say that your issues or the things that you're worried about, real world concerns are real world concerns. Let's be honest, right? When you have a lack, all of those things are very real. However, your mind is just like a piece of clear quartz. It magnifies everything. And it really is this week, that Nine of Swords is that message. Get out of here and get out there, because you're not going to find it in here sitting and stressing about, worrying about what you don't have, what you can't do, where you can't be, all that. Oh my gosh. And just as I'm talking about this, there's a little white feather is just fallen outside my window. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take it. Yeah, so this week, it's not as bad as you tell yourself, right? So get out of here and get out there and start making those things happen. You have to have that self-belief. You are going to have to go for it like never before. And a part of that is really about trusting yourself and committing to the process. With that said, I wish you all an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Take care, and I'll see you very soon.